Hello, I'm going to show you how I beat a 2418 moves using the new ChessGoals Benko course. So it started with one c4 and then I played e5. So you might be wondering, this doesn't look like a Benko, and you're right, this isn't a Benko, but the Benko course covers everything except one e4. So we cover really weird stuff like f4 and b3. We cover everything. So we have a whole chapter on one c4. And against this, we play e5, knight c3, knight c6, and we bring our bishop to c5. Now here we play d6, and here we play a waiting move. We play a6. So this just gives our bishop a square to come back to. And then after knight e2, we just play bishop a7. And the reason we're doing this is we're essentially waiting for white to castle. Because once they castle, they commit their king to that side of the board and we can attack. So that's exactly what happens. We waited and now white castles. And this is the key move. Now we play h5. So we go super aggressive, go for the attack. We're already thinking about playing h4, opening up this h file and starting an attack against that white king. So this is already not a very fun position for white. It's very difficult to play, and you got to be very careful. So white plays d4, and now keep going, h4. Keep continuing our attack. And after this move, a lot of times, our opponents will get scared. They'll see this pawn on h4, and they'll be a little scared. They don't like being attacked, right? So they want to trade off queens, because once you trade off queens, it's a lot harder to be attacked. But this is actually a huge mistake. So bishop takes c6 here is kind of what a lot of people do, and this is a line we have in the course. And we take here, and their idea is after we trade everything, they're going to trade our queens, and they're going to be fine, right? Because there's no queens on the board, so they're not going to be attacked. But this is actually a really bad way of playing, because after this, that light-scored bishop was white's best piece and white's key defender in the position. And once white loses that bishop, it's going to be very difficult for him to defend any sort of attack. So after d takes e5, we can actually keep queens on the board. We don't have to take back on e5. We can do something else. So here you can kind of go with either one. The ChessGoals Benko recommendation is h takes g3. But I played bishop h3 first. They're pretty interchangeable. But rook e1 and then takes. And now my opponent made a mistake. Instead of taking back with the instead of taking back with the f pawn, they took back with the h pawn. And taking back with the h pawn makes some sense, because a lot of times in chess we're told to take towards the center. So this is towards the center, but this opens up the h file for us, and that creates a lot more attacking possibilities that we'll see in the future. So white should have played f takes e3, f takes g3. But after h takes g3, I was supposed to play queen to g5. I actually erred, and I played d takes e5. This was my only mistake. And after this, we traded queens. But if I played queen g5, I would have had a devastating attack. So for example here, if he takes here, all I did was play bishop g4. And my idea is to come in with bishop f3 and then rook to h1 checkmate, because rook to h1 is supported by this bishop on f3. And again, these light squares are the key to our attack. It's very, very difficult for white to defend those light squares because he doesn't have a light squared bishop. So after bishop g4, it's very, very uncomfortable. And the reason we play queen g5 before playing bishop g4 is because if we play bishop g4 right away, then f3 comes, and we're still much better after we take, but it's a little less clear after something like this. So that's why we do queen g5 first, because now after bishop g4, now if f3, we have forced checkmate after bishop takes e3 check. This is the idea. Now our bishop and our queen are converging on the square. So if we take, they take, then here it doesn't really matter where the king goes. After king f1, bishop h3 is actually checkmate in 1. But against either, we can just play queen takes f3 check, and then rook to h1 checkmate. So it's crazy how fast this can just spiral for white. This is 17 moves in, and we're black, and we just checkmated our opponent. So it's really crazy how strong this attack is after 12 queen g5. So that's what I should have done here. I should have played queen g5, but instead I took on e5. And we traded queens. And the crazy thing about this position is even though we traded queens, the position, like, the attack isn't over. I still have a lot of play in the position, and I still have a lot of fight, again, because his light squared bishop is gone. So white plays b4 now, and he's trying to trap my bishop with c5. I just continue developing because he's spending a lot of time on the queen side with this idea, and now I play a good move. I play e4. So what this does is it really clamps down on those light squares and makes it very difficult for white to stop something like bishop g4 and bishop f3. So if I tried that right away, he could do something like king g2 and maybe like knight g1 or something, and he can kind of get away with it. But I play e4 first, and now my idea is to come with this. So he plays knight to f4. I play bishop g4. I'm continuing with my plan. He plays bishop b2, and now I bring my rook in. Rook to d2. And so I'm threatening his bishop here. And it's very difficult to deal with because a very natural looking move, at least to me, is to play something like bishop c1, getting out of the attack and creating an attack against this rook. But here, black has a crazy good move here. He can play bishop to f3, sacrificing this rook. Because after bishop takes d2, there's just rook h1, and that's mate. So white has to play knight g2 here. And here, we can still sacrifice the rook. We don't even have to bring it back again. We can just play knight g4. And again, if he takes, it's forced checkmate, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is forced checkmate. Rook h2. I'm threatening this knight, and then my knight is going to be huge here. So for example, if this rook moves, I take here. If king h1, knight takes f2 is checkmate. King f1, knight h2, and then rook g1 is checkmate. So there's all sorts of crazy mating patterns after bishop f3, and then knight g4, sacrificing the rook to play rook h2 and just go for a mating attack, which is crazy. It shows how strong and how powerful this attack is. We don't even need a queen. We literally don't need it. We can still checkmate him in like 20-something moves without a queen. That's how powerful and how aggressive this attack is. So in the game, my opponent actually just played knight g2, and I just took this bishop. But to show like just how bad this position is for white, the top engine move is knight to d1, and it's like -4 because black just, first off, it has all sorts of options, but the simplest one to me just seems like taking this and then taking this free piece. So black would be up a full piece, and white has no compensation. We're just up a full piece, and that's the best line for white here. So that kind of just shows how powerful this attack is and how dangerous this position is for white. So I highly recommend checking out the Benko course, because if you love these kind of attacking and aggressive lines that are very dynamic, we worked very hard to find these kinds of lines in every opening besides one e4. So we think you'll like it if you go ahead and check it out. And right now it's in pre-sale, so it's a little cheaper than it will be in the near future. So make sure you get it before the price goes up. Yeah, thanks for watching. Comment down below if you have any questions, and have a good day.